Roll of 24, part of John's Eclectic Storytime Adventure Series.
And welcome to Roll of 24. This is the week of 5 to 11 January. And the first three photos that we're going to look at are going to be from one of the Canon R5 Mark II or R6 Mark II, shot with the 10 to 20 millimeter. And Charlie wants to get in the scene. So please enjoy.
This first image and the next two images were taken out at Lions Park. And what I was looking for during this day was symmetry. And I came across the park. This was early in the morning, so there were very few or no kids around. And I just liked how the blue of the canopy and the steps reflected the light. And I set the Canon R5 up to a 1-to-1 aspect ratio so I could do a better job of centering while I was in the field versus post-production. The next image is featuring Charlie, and I like the depth of field on this one. This was, once again, early in the morning. The clouds were darkening, and this swing set all the swings had been removed, and they just got finished repainting the poles. And I just really liked how the color and the balance worked in that one. And then in the last one, the Charlie's next to this jungle gym type thing. And this was facing north, and that's where the clouds were coming in. And it just looked really great. And Charlie, after 7 or 8 tries, finally stayed long enough in position for me to capture this frame.
Some of the next images were taken with the Canon R5 with the 100 to 500, 4.5 to 7.1 of the birds in my backyard. Of course, I threw some bird seed out, but it was getting cold and the birds came in. Had a great time.
And here is a mourning dove that I captured. And I just love how I was able to capture the piece of food or pebble in between his beak in this scene. And in this scene, the beak is closed around the piece of food. But for this one, the dove is more in the light, and the coloring is a whole lot better than the prior picture where it was still in the shadows. Here's a capture of a house finch up in the tree, and it was probably about 13, 14 yards away. It was just, I was lucky enough to get focus on the eye after about 50 frames. The focus kept on getting into all the small branches, but I really love how this one turned out. This is an image of a black crow, and we're going to see many more of these images. As it started off down here on the ground when I captured this picture, and later on you're going to see other pictures where it's up in a tree as it eventually takes off. I was really surprised after taking this of how much blue these blackbirds really are. Here are 3 pictures of Charlie. Charlie is a 12, 13 week old half blue heeler and other part Midnight Express. Anyways, he had just finished chasing the birds off the walkway and went in and sat down at the office. In addition to the birds, there's also a squirrel or 2, and Charlie ran into the office and was looking back down at the walkway. And then in the next one, you catch Charlie looking over towards the fence on our right, his left, looking at the squirrel that just ran up along the fence post. And then in the third image, there's Charlie again. He's really eyeballing that squirrel, and wonder if he'll eventually ever catch it. And to me, one of the benefits of using the R5 Mark II is the pre-capture. And Yes, my finger gets sore from holding it down. The battery life dies. But without that pre-capture, images like this, at least for me, would have been hard to ever come by. And this is one of the many dove that live in my yard. Here's another capture of a house finch. This is a different tree than the prior house finch. You can see the different berries and everything. And once again, I think I went through about 50, 60 photos because no matter how well any autofocus is, trying to get through the moving branches, there was a slight wind. But I did capture this one, and I just love the focus on the eye. And here's another picture of our blackbird, and it's taking off on a tree that's about 35 yards away. It's an evergreen that stands about 50 feet tall. It's one of those tall, skinny kind of evergreens. I'm not sure what their name is. But I had been watching this bird for probably about 45 minutes. It sat up there and just would not move. Here's an image I captured of one of two cardinals. We have about 4 cardinals that live around our yard. And last year they actually built a nest in our grapes in the front and had a baby. And it's still around, but cardinals were few and far between today. And here is the second of 2 cardinals. You can tell that they're different cardinals because of the coloring. The prior one just had a small spot. I probably more of a juvenile. It could have been the one that was born last year in our front yard. Anyways, it was getting cold, and just the coloring is just, they're just beautiful. And here we are back with that blackbird again that's standing. Once again, this is about a 50-foot tall, skinny evergreen in my neighbor's backyard, probably about 35, 40 yards away. And as mentioned earlier, it sat up there for about 45 minutes. I'd zoom in on it, then look away, zoom in on it, look away. And then it finally took off. And I got lucky in the sense that I was holding down the pre-capture button on the R5 Mark II. And this is probably zoomed in about 300%. But I just loved how I captured it. Yes, the detail's not that great, but it was just awesome. I love how the claws are hanging out. And then here's the next picture, the same picture pretty much, but now it's all complete, zoomed out a little bit, or not cropped in as much. And then the final picture I captured, you can see it's pretty aged. It's got some damage to the wings over there on the right, our left, as it swoops down. Once again, I just loved how the claws were hanging out. And some of the next scenes are out at Stillhouse Lake, where I was trying to capture some seagulls or birds, anything out there in the lake. And while the pictures aren't that great because they were way far away, I did have the 1.4 teleconverter attached to the 100 to 500, and it was on the Canon R5, which is right here. Charlie, thank you. So I was able to, way off in the distance, at first I thought it was just the waves, but then upon closer examination, pulled up the camera, zoomed out, it was just a huge flock, probably about 200 seagulls diving in and out. And this picture zoomed in probably about 300 or 400%. Well, I mean, cropped in 300 or 400%. It's probably one of this flock of birds. Anyways, it was just really nice. Top of the day, very sunny. Well, 10 o'clock in the morning. But there were just so many out there. I just had fun taking so many different pictures. Yeah, if they're so far away, it doesn't look that great. But I'm still practicing and training. I don't use the 1.4 teleconverter that often. And then here's a section of the 2 birds. Once again, the detail's not great. But you have to get out there and practice catching them so that when the opportunity does arrive, when they're really good, which happened 2 weeks later when I captured an osprey in flight, that I was able to get better focus. And the next couple pictures are of macro with my 100 macro Canon macro,
And this was on the walk back from taking the pictures of the birds out there at the lake. And they're of tree stumps and a briar bush that I saw. And I thought they turned out okay.
And here is one of the two macro shots that I took on the way back from the cliff overlooking Stillhouse Lake. And it was very good, interesting. I set the camera up to do 25 frames. I did not have a tripod or anything. So when I did the layering inside of Photoshop, yeah, it created a little bit of issues. But on the whole, I took 7 different series, and this one really turned out good. And then here in the last one of this little briar bush, I just loved how the color, the sunlight was coming down from behind it a little bit. And once again, I did 25 frames using the built-in focus stacking inside of the Canon.
And I hope you enjoyed the first installment of the Roll of 24. This is going to be a weekly publication on Wednesdays. And if you enjoyed this presentation, please consider subscribing and hit that like button. Thank you.
And what follows are several of the outtakes that I made trying to put this production together. Some of them are pretty funny. Thank you.
And once again, thank you for watching the Roll of 24 for the week of 5 through 11 January. And Charlie will go for a walk here as soon as I turn this off. And welcome to John's Eclectic Story Time. And welcome to John's Story Time. And welcome to Roll of 24, week of